Okay. Good morning. It's Sunday, May something, and this is the third and last part of the course. So let's see, who do we have on the call? We have Karen, Michelle, and who's the caller? Who called in? Nobody? If you don't identify, I will boot you.
I'm here, Sandra.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Trying to write down the call number and the notes again.
Okay. Alrighty. So, did anybody go through the third audio? No? All right. So here's what we're going to do then. We're going to listen to it together. That way. Let's go over here. Let's go to oh, I downloaded it. That's right.
This last of 3 tapes is designed to firmly implant the winner's image system in your mind.
Can everybody hear that okay?
Yep, I can hear it.
Let's start by quickly reviewing what we have done. You have created in detail a fantasy composite of your new self-image. Next, you affirm that you are capable of living your life in the manner which your fantasy suggests. And you have confirmed your willingness to work at transforming your fantasy into your new self-image. Your objective now is to deeply plant and root the vision of your winner's image in your subconscious mind and keep nourishing it through positive input until your winner's image wrestles control of your life away from your old self. This winner's image system has a daily program to assist you in achieving your winner's image. Turn to page 31. Take a look at the drawing at the top of the page. We're graphically illustrated for you what we have just covered. You've built the winner's image. Now your old self-image is still in control of your subconscious mind, but the system we're laying out for you here will change that. There's a beautiful quote by Leland Val van de Waal, whom I consider my teacher, at the bottom of page 31. And it's a quote I think that we should focus on as we move on to our 5-point program. He said, "Doing at once what needs to be done will ensure the possibility of success." Now take a look at the top of page 33. Here we're talking about the daily 5-point program for materializing a winner's image. Number 1, relax. Allocate 20 minutes 3 times every morning, noon, evening. Let yourself totally relax. Clear your mind and visualize yourself living your dream. 2, change. Completely review how you have been living and decide what changes must be made to become the person you have visualized yourself being in your new image, and change them. Number 3, watch. Play your videotape of a winner's image at least once every day for 90 days, being aware of how much more you retain the message every time you watch it. Number 4, listen. Place the 3 audio cassettes from a winner's image in your automobile. Clear your car of all other cassettes. Play these cassettes constantly every time you're in your car for the next 90 days. Number 5, communicate. Make a list of 15 winners you respect and would like to socialize with. Phone one every day to say hello and ask if there's any way you can help them. You will be speaking to every one of them twice a month. As Van de Waal said, you only have to do something until you want to. Then you don't have to anymore. Now turn over onto page 35. Here we're going to make a detailed description of yourself as a winner. Now this may appear to you as if it's the same exercise you completed on page 23. It is similar, but it is definitely not the same.
Now, has anybody made a list of the 15 winners? right? The way I did it is I made a list of people and I reached out to 15 people that I wanted to interview. And I reached out to Damon John, to Don Green from the Napoleon Hill Foundation, Cactus Jack, back when Derek, Allen, Ralph, Steve Wong. The other one I haven't reached out to is Patty Acosta. I haven't spoken to her. So what I've done is I've reached out. I made a list of 15 people, and I reached out to most of them and have begun forming relationships with them to get insights, ideas of what's going on with these individuals in terms of their mindset. I would encourage you all to do it. It's a very powerful exercise, and they become friends. They become friends. So you put your fear aside. When you have everything to gain and nothing to lose by trying, then by all means try. What is it that could possibly hurt you by doing that exercise, other than your phony pride, ego, whatever, right? So I encourage you all to try that exercise. Very powerful exercise.
You see, on page 23, you were making a written description of your fantasy. Remember, we've had a change in attitude. We've shifted our way of thinking, and we took a fantasy and we turned it into a theory. Now it's a dream, and we're at the point now where we want it to move into results. This written description of yourself must be in the present tense. Everything begins on a mental level before it manifests in physical results. As you make this written description, you're impregnating your winner's image into cells in your brain. Rewrite this image weekly. You will find it will keep improving every time you write it. Begin by writing, "I am so happy now that I am." Now I'm trusting that you have completed making a written description of your dream, your theory. And as you write that, you let it soak into every cell of your being. Each time you write it, you live it. Now we're going to turn over onto page 37, and we will discuss each one of these 5 points in a little greater depth, so that you'll have a better understanding of why I am suggesting what I'm suggesting for each one of these steps. Number 1, relax. This exercise is vitally important. Real winners are highly result-oriented individuals and always have a number of projects going at the same time. They accomplish more in a week than most people would accomplish in a month, or possibly even in a year. They carry out their duties in a very calm, confident, relaxed manner. Relaxation is not something winners try to do. It is the way they are. Their subconscious mind is programmed to keep them in a relaxed state. Creative energy flows freely through the mind and body that is relaxed. Dynamic, creative, result-oriented ideas are built with creative energy. When you have let yourself move into a totally relaxed state, mentally throw the electrical switch in your brain that permits the winner's image to move onto the screen of your mind. This is the image you chose to create and that you described on page 17. See yourself winning in every way. Make it real. Make it in the present tense. When that winner's image dominates your mind, you are that person. The more often you practice this exercise, the more it will take root. Eventually, it will dominate your mind all of the time. You are then the winner, intellectually, spiritually, and physically. Habits are formed by repeatedly getting emotionally involved with specific ideas. Now, to let yourself relax, I'm going to suggest that you find a particular place in your home where you're very comfortable. Let your body sink into the chair, or if you're laying down, just let your body sink into the floor. Mentally, visualize a beautiful energy flowing in through the crown of your head and circulating through your body. Now, you do not try to relax, you let yourself relax, and let all of the tension leave your body. If you find you're having difficulty with this, you give our office a call, and we have tapes on relaxation there. We'll be glad to see that you get one. For you to successfully form the habit of living a relaxed, creative life, you must properly complete this exercise 3 times a day, every day, for 90 days. And as you do this, you're going to find that you will get into the habit of being relaxed regardless of the circumstance. Winners are relaxed beings. Remember, tension tires, relaxation renews. Now bring your attention to the top of page 39. Here we're pointing out you cannot get new results with old habits. Change is essential for growth. This is the one point that will require more effort than all of the others combined. Clearly understand, however, that the other points are of no value whatsoever if you do not systematically complete this exercise. Experience has taught winners that they would not have properly completed this exercise.
Can anybody see the screen share? Yes, no, maybe. Is anybody paying attention? I'll just end the call. I have better things to do than sit here by myself. Can I get some feedback, please? Okay. I'm going to count to 10. At 10, if I don't hear somebody's voice, I'm ending the call. And I'm going to go have breakfast. So, can I get somebody's feedback, please? Can you hear me okay?
I wasn't sure exactly what you asked. It was something about a green chair or a shirt or something. Like, I didn't think I heard you right. So I was.
Screen share. Screen share.
Oh, please.
Yeah, can you see the screen share? It says change.
Well, I mean, definitely, I like the relaxing, like really visualizing, especially what.
I'm sharing the. Can
try to relax. Like, don't try to do it. Just let yourself do it. Like, I wrote that down because that was a key point for me to not like always be trying to do something because that implies there's a chance of failing. Like, you might do it, you might not do it because you're trying. But if you just let yourself do what you can do and just like move in the right direction.
Yeah. Now, my question was, can you see the screen that I'm sharing on your computer? Can you see the workbook? It says,
oh, I'm just on the phone, so like I'm not at the computer.
oh, okay, that's fine. All right, so I'll stop the share since nobody's ready. All right. So, all right. So, what's important here to understand is that you must have a written description. Now, the written description is essentially your statement, okay? And he says 20 minutes 3 times every day. Not really that critical. Maybe 1 time per day, for 20 minutes to just relax and to say and really all it really is just sit down, relax, say your statement, and begin to connect with every word in your statement. The conversation that I had with Derek yesterday is, I said to him, Derek, what was it that happened that caused you to increase the number of repetitions that you were doing from 2 to whatever? And he said, I had just gotten back from Vietnam and I had built a downline of 45,000 people. Okay, I want you to think about that number. 45,000 people. That's how many people he recruited into his business. And the problem in Vietnam and most of the Asian countries is that the people there are used to a system of bribes. And so the guy who was his top distributor down there said, I need a car. And Derek said, sure, buy yourself whatever you want. You're making money. He says, no, I want you to give me a car. And he told him exactly what kind of car he wanted. And Derek said, why should I buy you a car? He says, because the Australian team is offering me a car. The Japanese team is offering me a car. And if you don't give me a car, I'm leaving. And so Derek said, go. And he came back to the U.S. and realized that he did not want to build a downline in a country that had that kind of way of doing business. So consequently, he lost all those people and the income that they represented. And he was really, really depressed. I mean, you can imagine, losing a huge amount of, some people never even build downlines of 45,000 people. So imagine building a downline of 45,000 people and then losing every single one of them to a different company or a different distributor.
Wow.
It had to be a different company because companies don't allow you to switch distributors. But they went with a different multi-level marketing company. So that represented a big disappointment for him. So he found that he wasn't able to control his state with just 2 repetitions. And he remembered that Alan had told him that it would take 2 years. That's the God's honest truth. 2 years to unleash your subconscious mind. Does everybody know what it means to unleash your subconscious mind?
Is it to erase your bad habits?
Well, you can't really use the word erase when it comes to anything in our minds. We never lose the information. It's stored there. It just becomes harder to access, like a fuzzy memory. So really, it's about displacing. But what it is that after you say your statement for 2 years, like somebody recently said to me, Bert, I appreciate the fact that you're becoming more patient. And I said, yes, I noticed that from having worked on computers and not dealing with humans that much for 12 years, except my cat, I had lost some of my ability to be patient with people. I was used to telling my VAs, do this, do that. It was like being back in the military. In the military, you don't say please and thank, you don't say, would you please do this? You walk orders. So I was back to that kind of a mode. So I added in my statement, I am a great listener, flexible, understanding, and patient in dealing with others. And so when they paid me that compliment, I immediately responded, are you surprised? I've had it in my statement for over 2 months now. Of course it's going to make an impact on me. Do you think that what you tell yourself over and over and over again doesn't have an impact on you? Of course it does. So what Alan said is that to unleashing your subconscious means that now you've been imprinting that information. And what starts to happen is that information now starts coming back to you. So you'll be doing something. Now, if you've ever done scroll number 9, which is I will act now, you'll find that because of the number of times that the words I will act now are in that scroll, what you would probably find is that as you go about your day, many times the words act now or I will act now will pop up in your mind. And that's because it's a simple affirmation and it doesn't really fight with too many others. The statement is a little bit more comprehensive. But essentially it means that within 2 years, 2 years or sooner, your subconscious mind will start feeding back to you ideas, thoughts, plans, purposes of what you want. So all of a sudden you'll be looking at a car and an image of the Mercedes-Benz will pop up in your mind. Or you'll be thinking, how can I make, you'll be thinking of nothing and then all of a sudden the income that you want, a thought of it comes up into your mind. So unleashing the subconscious is that you've been putting it in and now it starts coming back. Get it? Like your negative thoughts. Do you request them? How do you get those negative thoughts that pop up before a speech or before a presentation or before a task? How do those thoughts come in? Do you request them? Do you go, hi, brain, please send me some negative thoughts because I really want to be negative? No, it just happens, right?
Right.
So that's what'll happen. Now, yesterday, he shared with me that it has actually taken him 7 years to unleash his subconscious. Eric. 7 years before the conscious thoughts started coming in. So the question, of course, that you may ask or you may be wondering about is why, right? Why did it take him 7 years? Anybody know why?
Well, it took years of them getting programmed in. It takes a long time to change.
Not a long time. It depends on the individual.
Hmm.
because my theory, or not my theory, but my knowledge is that it took Alan 2 years. Now, what was Alan's background? Born with one leg, defective, so to speak, low self-image because everybody was making fun of him. So where was his belief system about being worthy and deserving? Really low, right? So Alan probably didn't think he was worth much, he didn't deserve much because he was kind of, in a Japanese culture, you're not looked upon as a blessing when you have a disability. You're looked upon as the gods are punishing you for something you did in a previous lifetime because it's a Buddhist, mentality.
So then it's all on how we view ourselves to begin with.
Yeah. So why did it take Derek 7 years? Because, as he said, he was a trash can head. And I said, what does that mean? He says, I was born in a household where my father, and he's got deep issues with daddy still. And a trash can head meant that every time that his father met somebody or saw somebody, his father would always be sizing them up and trashing them, saying, yeah, he drives that car, but he's not really making the money he should be. Or that guy, it was always like a sarcasm, a shot at somebody, putting other people down. And so what happens if you're exposed to that kind of behavior? Over and over again, what happens? No one knows. Whenever you're exposed to any behavior, what happens? Aren't you conditioned by it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what does conditioned by it mean? Okay.
You're exposed to it, and you get desensitized to a point. Like that's just how things are.
It's more insidious. I'll give you an example. Okay. How long does it take you to do your statement every day in time? 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Yeah, let's say you do your statement and it takes you 2 minutes for the statement, 2 minutes for the confidence formula. Let's call it 5 minutes. 5 times 5 is 25. So 25 minutes of the day, right? So now let's take a young child who's playing video games. How long do they play video games for every day?
Hours.
Hours. And what are they exposed to over and over again? Depends on
a lot of
could be violence.
competition. It could be, young children could be Mario Brothers, just focusing on a goal or something to beat the other guys.
And if it's a more graphic game, they're exposed to violence. They're exposed to many different things. So when you're that focused, and it becomes, here's the thing. I'll give you an example. I played a game that was called Shogun, and the goal of the game was to take over Japan. And I bought the game, and it was my day off, so I got up like normal time, 6 a.m. and had a cup of coffee, and I turned the game on. And I played the game, and my wife came home like 6 o'clock, and after picking up the kids, and she's like, "Are you still in your pajamas drinking coffee, playing that video game?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, we're eating dinner." And I'm like, "Okay." So what did I do? I played the game until dinner. I ate dinner and rushed right back to the game. And about 11, 12 o'clock at night, I put the game away. I spent the entire day absorbed in that game. What was my dominant thought the next day?
The game.
Yeah. How to beat the game. How to beat the game. How to become the shogun, how to conquer all the territories, what's the strategy. So my brain is constantly focused on this, constantly. And so it becomes my dominant thought. Now I'll give you this as an example. I have a buddy of mine. His longest relationship has been 9 months. Yeah, he's like 35, 36 years old. He's on Plenty of Fish, and he told me his strategy. What he does is he goes on Plenty of Fish, and he looks at all the ladies, and he will send them a message. And I said, "How much time does that consume of your day?" He Says it doesn't take a lot of time. I do it, when I go to the bathroom, when I take a coffee break, I do it as part of my routine. I says, yeah, I understand that. How long does it take? Because I'm probably on there for at least an hour. Then maybe more. Says, yeah, on my day off, I'll do more. I said, so what are you constantly focused on?
All the women.
Yeah. And I said, and yet you still don't have a girlfriend. Your longest relationship's only been 9 months, and you haven't broken $75,000 yet in income. I said, do you wonder? And then I've been trying to get him to do a statement, and he just fights me on it. So I don't bother him anymore. I told him, look, whether you choose to do the statement or not, you've got a statement. It's either a statement to win or a statement to lose. What Napoleon Hill felt is that people that don't decide on a definite main purpose, he called those people a word that we now take it to mean a positive thing. And that word is drifters. Okay? A drifter took on a Hollywood connotation, but a drifter was somebody who just didn't have a goal in life and just went this way or that way. If you don't have a purpose, a goal in life, you will be pulled in every direction. That's not an if. That's a yes, not even a when. It's it. It's not an if. If you have no clear, definite goal in your life, you will be pulled this way and that way. Not only in terms of finances, but in relationships, in every area of your life. You'll get pulled. And so people wonder, why they zigzag. Now, the reason you zigzag is because you really don't know where you're going anyway. So when you don't know where you're going, any direction is a good direction. When you're crystal clear about what you want, then you don't zigzag as much. Why? Because you have a star to shoot for, a goal to shoot for, an aim, a point, a destination to reach. So understanding how the human mind works, when people tell me, be happy in the moment, all these things, I don't really believe in Eastern philosophy, because Eastern philosophy was based on a caste system where people never could rise up. And so religions have to adapt to the society they're in. Every single one of them has adapted. So whatever the original teaching is, it changed. And since religion is the biggest brainwashing that goes on in our society, it's had less impact because of all the different reforms. But you take a look at Islam. Islam is right now where Christianity was during the Spanish Inquisition and the Crusades. That's where it is. You're still in that mindset of either you convert or you die. I mean, what some of these radical Islamists have done is nothing different than what Christians did to, what Spain did with Jews and other people during the Spanish Inquisition. You were given the same choice, convert or die. So it's not a new concept by any stretch. However, the point is that whatever you spend your time focusing on, even if you're not even aware of it, or you don't think about it, or you foolishly kid yourself and go, this doesn't matter that much. It has an impact. So the question he asked me is, how do you shut off all the other programming? So does anybody know how to shut off all the other programming that's going on every day?
Replace it with something else that's more positive.
Yeah. First thing, shut the TV off. Stop watching the news, because there's really nothing good going on. If you want to watch anything, watch business news, sports, any other category that's more positive and less gloom and doom. Tune into whatever channel you want to tune into. Control the information that goes in your subconscious mind, because here's the key that most people don't understand. Most people think that when somebody tells you something, that has no impact on you. But we know that even a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. So if somebody tells you something that you don't believe in, if they tell you long enough and and emotionally enough, eventually you'll accept it, even though it goes against all your core beliefs. That's the power of repetition. This stuff is really, really dangerous in the hands of the wrong person. Somebody made a comment, and I went and Googled it, and I found a copy of Mein Kampf, because they said that Hitler really understood the power of propaganda, auto-suggestion. And so I Googled the word propaganda. I found a copy over at the Gutenberg Library online, gutenberg.net. And I Googled it. I found a copy of it that was in HTML format. So I did a control find, and I typed in the word propaganda. And I didn't realize this, but in that book, there was over 220 references to the word propaganda. And the statement that Hitler used is that a politician that knows the value and the use of propaganda is a significant force. So he understood that propaganda, auto-suggestion, can make people do things that they don't want to do or wouldn't think of doing because of the constant repetition. And he used other tactics, peer pressure and so forth and so on, because again, environment has a big factor in what we do. If you hang around with guys, as a kid, I hung around with a couple of kids that were into shoplifting, and so anytime we went into a store, they were shoplifting and I wasn't. And they were like, hey, come on, Bert, you can do it. Come on, what's the big deal? What are you, a pussy? And of course, no, I'm not a pussy. So they were stealing like candy and I stole a book. And guess who got busted? Me. I was underage. I was like 13 years old, right? But they called my dad. My dad came down and that ended those friends real fast. Why? I wasn't that wasn't my personality. I wasn't that kind of kid. But my dad didn't yell at me. He sat me down and he said one word. Well, a sentence. I'm disappointed. You know better. And I said, but my friend, he says, no, not your friends. And they are no longer your friends. You're done with them. So by changing my environment, he changed my life. If I hadn't gotten busted, could I have progressed to other petty crimes? Where would it end? And once you're involved in that type of mentality, where does it end? Is it progressive? Yeah. You believe it a little bit. Serial killers, who do they start out with first? Anybody know? Done a lot of research done on this.
They abuse animals and kill them first?
Yep, exactly. They start out with cats and dogs and squirrels and ants and little animals, lower life forms. And then who is usually the first person they kill? What gender? After they progress to humans?
Female.
Females. What kind of females? Think Jack the Ripper.
Young.
Prostitutes.
Yeah.
Easy to approach, right? You walk up to a prostitute, she's not going to run away scared. She doesn't say stranger danger. So she'll go with you, and then they kill him. And so that's what Jack the Ripper did. He killed all prostitutes in England, London. So, you must understand that when the seed takes plant, when you plant that seed, it then begins to grow. And then it begins to envelop you and you become that seed. So that's why it's so important to regulate what you allow to get in and understand that it's not even about what you regulate coming in over and over again. It's regulating all thoughts. You will finally be in control of your mind when you can block out every single negative thought by just not focusing on it. In other words, your conscious filter that right now is filtering in. See, here's what happens. If you start believing that people are good, when you start believing that you are lucky, that you are blessed, that you have a destiny, that you have a purpose in life, guess what kind of thoughts you will not allow in? You'll reject them immediately. Anything that is the opposite of that. So anybody tells you, you don't have a destiny or you can't do that, you'll be like, what are you talking about? Go away. Okay? And what will you do with that person? Will you try to fix them?
I don't know.
The answer is no. Why?
Because they're not what you're looking for. You're looking for something else.
Well, yeah. And what else? There's another part to that. Is it hard for us to grow and change? Wanting to. Is it hard? Like, have you ever tried quitting a habit? See, right now, what you're doing is you're quitting the habit of having no goals, of thinking negatively. So these are all habits. They're just mental habits instead of, habits of smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol or whatever the other habits are, or eating a lot of food. These are just mental habits. They're no different than physical habits. And where do all habits begin anyway? In the brain. So when you begin to change your mental habits, when you try to go to these people and you want them to change, unless they're willing to change themselves, you'll never get them to change. You can influence them, but you're not going to get them to change. So what's going to happen in the process? They're going to resist. And so it's going to become a huge time waster for you. What I have found is with people that are negative like that, what I do is I'll just give them a copy of Think and Grow Rich. If I love them enough, I'll give them a copy of Think and Grow Rich. I'll give them an audio to listen to, and then let them find their own path, because I know it's harder wanting to. I mean, look, I give people the statement. I spend hours working with them on their statement. I encourage them to constantly do the repetitions. Guess what still happens? You think people stay in this?
They stop doing their statement.
They stop doing their statement and they drift away. They think they found another. They go on to the next shiny thing because this gets boring after a while. But they don't listen. That's the problem. The problem is not with the statement. The problem is not with this process. The problem is with the people. They're still stuck on that another seminar, another book, another something is going to give them the fucking answer. Excuse my French. And they don't understand that this is a process of changing your habits, not your motivation. Motivation is what gets you going, but it's habits that make it permanent. And so we're involved in creating a money-conscious habit. We're interested in creating a habit of controlling our minds by saying our statement, our written description, whatever it is, over and over again until the subconscious mind gets it and then begins sending those thoughts forward instead of all the negative crap. So why 7 years for Derek? Because his father would trash everybody, and his father would trash him, and sarcasm. He equated it to like a Jewish guilt on steroids. Derek did not go into the family business, which is the makeup industry. His sisters, his brothers, they're all in Hollywood. They're all in that business, but not him. He wanted to be an opera singer. Now, do you think that his father looked upon being an opera singer as a good career choice? No.
No, it wasn't like that.
He said, look, there's only money for one or two people. You have to be the best. In the meantime, makeup, you can make money, you can live a good life, stop chasing those stupid dreams. Because it wasn't his father's dream. It was Derek's dream. So what did his father do? Shot his dream down. Then Derek met a woman who was a powerhouse attorney in Hollywood, handled the top A-list fucking movie stars. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars a year in client billings. And what did she do? And Derek allowed it. Why did Derek allow it? She told him, Derek, you got to stop with this nonsense of being an opera singer. You need to, you should go back to law. You should go to law school. You got your degree. Go back to law school. Sign up for law school and become a lawyer. And together we will build an even bigger practice for law. And Derek, because he was used to his father dictating, it was easy for him to be, and he loved her, of course. It was easy for him to drop his goal where his father couldn't get him to do that. She was, because of love, sex, all the things that go with the ability to persuade. And so he enrolled in law school. He went to law school for a year. And then what did he do? He came to the conclusion, this is not what I want. I love to sing. I'll figure out a way to sing. He said, then he dawned on him, maybe he can't make the money that he wants to singing, but he can figure out a way to do that and still get the singing in, and that's what he figured out. And so he went back to her and he said, listen, I'm not going to be an attorney. I want to sing, and if that's not good enough for you, then we're done. Because it was a tough decision to make because he really loved her. And then what happened? Then he found Claudia. And when he told Claudia about his dream, she says, sounds great to me. Go after it. Done. Done. That was it. In love forever. Okay. So why did it take so long? Because there were so many negatives with a lot of emotion in there. And it wasn't because, and I'm saying that doesn't mean that he didn't hit all his financial goals along the way. He did. But it took him 7 years for the subconscious mind to start hitting him with the positives that he was feeding in. He would still get that trash can head thinking. That's what he means by he wasn't able to eliminate that pattern of, he's got a car, nice, sarcasm. Some people think that doing sarcasm in a humor, using humor and sarcasm is okay. Is that just as insidious?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And what happens is now it's even worse, because if I criticize you, it's just me criticizing you. But if I use sarcasm and humor, then everybody laughs. So what happens to that program now? Those words, do they go in deeper? Oh yeah. Sarcasm is horrible.
It's in there even stronger now.
Even stronger, more emotion and peers, other people laughing. It's like, you being I remember I had, look, here's the programming, right? Look how effective it is. Fifth grade, memory. The teacher tells me, go get the milk cartons and pass them around. I go to get the milk cartons, and I was a skinny kid. It wasn't that I had a fast metabolism. It's just that I didn't really care about food. And as soon as I got home, I went out and played. I was always out running here, running there, always active. So I was skinny as all hell. So I pick up the tray, I load it up with the milk, and I just pick it up, and the teacher says to me, I think the tray weighs more than you do. Like, really? You have to use sarcasm against a fifth grader to make yourself feel better? And of course, what did everybody this is sarcasm by the teacher. So what did every student do? Laugh. Programmed in, still remember it, can see the memory just as if it was yesterday. I'm sure you all had one of those, right? Something in there that you have. So if it's still in there, what put it in there? It could have been dismissed as asshole. Could have been dismissed that way. But it was the fact that...
Sorry, I think I'm losing you.
Huh?
I wondered if it was me.
What's that? Say that again. Can you hear me? Okay. Guess I lost it. So the point is, excuse me, that when other people say things, you have to really understand that it can be very insidious, and it can get through no matter how much you say, oh, that's not, doesn't affect me. You need to really begin to take control of your mind. And the repetition, the other thing that Derek talked about yesterday, is that the most repetitions he's done in one day is 20 repetitions. That's the most. He says, and it was exhausting. He says, when he about a year ago, maybe longer, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he read his statement to Alan, and Alan said, slow it down. He says, think of every word as you're saying it. Slow down your statement. Because he was doing it like Paris is doing it sometimes, where they've been doing so many repetitions. When you do a lot of repetitions, the tendency is to speed up. It is my birthday, February 20th, 2017, and I birthed Superman Herner. I'm so happy and grateful. Now that I'm when you need to do a lot of repetitions, you tend to speed it up. And so it just becomes rote words. But if you stop yourself from doing that and you go, it is my birthday, February 20th, 2017, and I, or Superman Herner, am so happy and grateful. And literally see yourself happy and grateful. And every time you do that exercise, you will become happier and more grateful, and the picture will become clearer and clearer and clearer. You see, the reason that some people have a fuzzy, they go, oh, I can't visualize very well. Well, it's a muscle like any other muscle. It's a mental muscle, though. I'm using the word muscle. It's not really a muscle, but it's a technique. It's a tactic. So the more you do it, the clearer the picture becomes. And the clearer the picture becomes, the more you attract it. So let's go back to listening. You know, some really great stuff. Let's get through this one. It's not time. At 10:52. Wow.
Size had they not done the others. All pieces are necessary to complete the puzzle. Here are 10 areas of your life you must review. You can and probably should add to this list. As you review them on the following pages, clearly indicate the changes you will make and when you will initiate the change. 1. Personal appearance. 2. Your personal life. 3. Your social life. 4. Your personal development program. 5. Your health. 6. Your working habits. 7. Your attitude. 8. Your time management. 9. Your business associates. 10. Your leadership abilities. Now you'll notice at the bottom of page 39, I've given you an example here. We'll take the first one. Your personal appearance. Changes I will make. Completion date, within 7 days. I will visit an image consultant who has established a professional reputation. I will explain what I intend to accomplish and ask for professional assistance. I want to be recognized by my peers as one of the best dressed people they know. Now, you see, an image consultant is going to ask you what you do, what you work at. It's very important that you dress in a manner that's conventionally acceptable. I think it would be highly improper for a very successful farmer to be wandering around in a three-piece silk suit. It's very important that we dress in a manner that's conventionally acceptable in the area that we work. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Go and take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, if I were a stranger looking at me, do I look like a successful person? Do I dress like a successful person? How important do I feel my physical appearance is? I happen to believe it is a very important part of our life, just as the other 9 areas are. But you're an intelligent being. Take each one of these and really think about it. Remember, we said it requires rigorous honesty. This requires a little introspection. And you're going to find that as you keep going through these changes, you're going to want to complete these exercises every 30 or 60 days. Now take your time and move over onto page 41 and start to go through the 10 areas. Take your time and do them effectively.
If you wish to complete the 10 areas now, simply stop the tape. If not, please continue.
Now you may find as you have completed those exercises, there's areas that you would like to add to them. Go ahead and add them. If you think they're important, then they're important. Now I want to suggest that you turn over onto page 47, and we'll take a look at the third step of action we're suggesting. Watch. Play your videotape of a winner's image at least once every day for 90 days, being aware of how much more you retain the message every time you watch it. Make certain your mind is clear of any cares or concerns as you turn on your video of a winner's image. The movie being projected onto the screen of your mind imparts the important images you want deposited in your emotional mind. The repetition of watching the same images day after day plays an important role in dissolving your old limiting self-image, and at the same time nourishing your winner's image in its place. You may be inclined to pack the video away after viewing it daily for a week or two because of your familiarity with what you've been watching. That would be a grave error. Your old self-image was placed in your subconscious mind over a long period of time through the repetition of false ideas. Turning that old image around will take a short time by comparison. Commit to make it a daily ritual of watching your video for a full 90 days. Now, the pictures that you're seeing are going to sink deep in your mind.
Okay, so who has written out a written description as we're supposed to do in the winner's image? Has anybody completed that assignment?
Not yet.
Okay. So it's critical that you do that. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Anybody? Okay. It's critical that you do that. So what I would suggest you do is that today you set a deadline of by when that will be done. And I suggest that you share that in the group. Okay? Because this is an exercise. The winner's image is just about what? What is it that he talks about mostly? It's a visualization exercise, right? Yes? Somebody? Anybody? I'm trying to make this interactive. Is everybody in a place?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is by writing out that written description. Now, if you don't have a written description yet, I suggest that you take your statement, record it, and listen to it as you go to bed at night. And then visualize yourself. If you haven't memorized, you don't have to do that. You can just say it out loud or silently to yourself. I will usually, I try not to think my statement because I find that when I'm thinking it, other thoughts come in and distract me. So I'd rather say it out loud so I can focus on it more. And sometimes I'll just play the recording and say it out loud. And I'll do that, and as I do it, I'll see myself driving that metallic lunar blue with a burl wood trim Mercedes-Benz SL 550 convertible down the sun-drenched, palm tree-laden roads of anywhere in Florida. So now, one of the things that you want to do is, who here has a tangible reward on their statement? And by tangible, I mean house, car, boat, anything that's tangible that way. Anybody? No one? No one has a tangible reward? Come on, somebody must have one. Is everybody asleep?
Yeah, I do, Bert.
What is yours?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, so mine is, I'm going from memory, is the house that I have a station kitchen where I entertain people and then I have a big garden. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What kind of house is it?
I can hear you both, but reception sucks today.
Reception is what?
I hear you both, but reception for me has been horrible today.
Oh, really? It's not coming out clear?
I haven't been. Anybody else answer? For me, not for me. I mean, you are right this second.
All right.
He's fading in and out.
All right, let me see if I can correct that.
Because whoever was trying to talk, I don't know if maybe that was Eva. Bert, you didn't even hear her.
Yeah, that was me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. So do you want me to go forward?
Sure. So, okay, so what kind of house is it?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Bert must be concentrating on.
Okay.
Yes.
What
Now,
kind of house is
Eva
it?
asked Bert, is he ready for you to go?
Okay, so it's a house with a big spacious kitchen where I entertain family and friends. And then I have a garden that I grow my fresh veggies and herbs in. And I use that for cooking in my kitchen.
How many square feet is the house?
I love that, and I totally see that. I totally see that.
Thank you. Yeah, you've said that before. Thank you.
How many square feet is the house? Can you hear me?
Wow. See, it's not important to me. What's most important is that I have a huge backyard and a huge kitchen. That's like my two things.
Okay, but in order to have huge, you need to know how many square feet. You know?
And I'm so bad with square feet.
Okay. So here's what you do. Go out
I've
and-
never been good with measures.
That's
So
okay.
can I just say a 3-bedroom house?
You need to be more specific. How many bathrooms? Where is it going to be? today we decided today we're going to buy a house in 6 months. What are we going to do? We already know we can get the financing. We got all the money part covered. So what do we need to decide right now? Where it's going to be?
Haven't decided yet. There's 3 places I have in mind.
Okay, so pick one.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Guess what'll happen as you
Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
I can't hear you now.
I got booted for a second. Can you hear me now or no?
I heard you.
Okay. Gosh.
Okay, let me try a different microphone.
Yeah, now I can.
So the question I asked was, can you pick one town? You said you have 2 places.
Yes, Arlington Heights,
Okay, so
which is where I live now.
now why? Why do I say pick one? Because as you start to say your statement over and over again, and you start.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay. This is horrible. All right, I'm trying to switch to my Bluetooth, maybe hoping that that'll give me better sound quality. Connecting. So let me start putting little things. Bear with me for a second. I'm just closing down resources to hopefully be able to. Okay. So the reason why I say pick one is because pair.
That's no better for me right now.
Can you hear me okay now? No, really? No. All right, let's try that again. Okay, just keeps booting me for some stupid reason. Can everybody hear me okay? Can you hear me? No audio?
Now we can hear you.
Okay. So this audio is horrible today. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my internet connection. I found out that the hotel yesterday, I have a 20 gig plan for my cell phone, and I'm at 18 gigs already, and the plan doesn't expire, it doesn't renew until the 10th, so I'm in trouble because the connection here in the hotel has been horrible. So, and I guess today is not much better. So the point was that you pick one, and then what will happen as you repeat it over and over again, you'll start doing the research, and then you'll say, ooh, like for me, it was Tampa, Florida. Then I went down and I checked out Clearwater, and I said, there's nothing wrong, it's still same area, but I say, now I don't say Tampa, I say Clearwater area. Now, what'll happen eventually is as I continue to look in the areas, I'll be like, wow, maybe it's St. Pete's. And I'll decide it's St. Pete's. But does that change anything? No, because the goal is not the area. The goal is what? 3-bedroom house with 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and a spectacular oceanfront view. Now, if that's an oceanfront view of St. Pete's versus Clearwater Beach, am I going to quibble? Hell no. As long as it's an oceanfront view. It could be an oceanfront view of, Kauai, Hawaii. That would be awesome, But, let's just go in what's in my statement right now. So what you want to do is you want to try to put into your statement as many specifics as you can. So how many bedrooms? How many baths? If you're in an area like New Jersey, do you want a full basement? Do you want a full attic? How many cars in your garage? How much property do you want? Do you want an acre of property? Think of it like if you were going to go and buy the house tomorrow. Would you know all these things? Yeah. And so as you begin affirming it and you begin thinking about it, it becomes clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. See, the process of affirming and repeating is the process of making it clear, because as you keep telling yourself certain things, your brain goes, okay, that's not clear enough. What kind of house? Okay. What kind of car? And you begin to clear it up. But that's a result of the repetition. So getting back to Derek. So So for him, he said that the most repetitions he's done is 20 a day. He said, how do you do that? And I said, well, I'll be candid with you. Maybe 10 of them are full emotion. And the other 10 are as much emotion as I can muster. And he says, are you still yelling out your statement? I said, no, not really. He says, good. Because after you begin to understand, after you get over the yelling part is to first drive the emotion in. But the real key is not to stay with the yelling. The real key is to begin to be able to say your statement once it's memorized. I mean, remember, this is a process. You can't go from writing out your statement to visualizing it right away until you go through the process of memorization. So you say it out loud with as much emotion as possible to get it memorized. Once it's memorized, now you begin doing your statement and seeing the picture. You focus on seeing the picture of the things you want. So this exercise, the written description, aids you in that because you're doing the visualization with your statement. You're doing the visualization by just focusing on the visualization. And so ultimately, the picture, what's the saying? A picture is worth 1,000 words? Especially when it comes to our brain. Our brain is totally 100% picture-based. We learn by association. We see a picture of a cow, and we see the word C-O-W, and we go, cow. That's how we do it. So once you start associating a picture of the house you want, and you can see the size of the kitchen, what you should do is go online and look up a kitchen that resembles the one you want. If that's critical for you, and find out how many square feet that kitchen is. It's simple enough. It'll be in the specs. Look at floor plans. Go out, take a day, and go look at models. Even though they're not the ones you want. See if there's some new construction. Go out and see models. It's great. That'll drive you. That'll boost your emotion. If there's a car, go out into the dealership. Take a test drive. Sit in it. Touch it. Feel it. Touch the whole car. I swear to God, people must have thought when I was sitting in that Mercedes that it was a woman the way I was handling it. Just rubbing it, the steering column, the dashboard. I touched everything in that car except the engine. Next time. Why? Because I want to use as many senses as possible. And so when I left there, I came back here and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get that car. So yesterday I'm talking to Derek and he's like, I said, it's $1,800 a month on a lease. He's like, do you know for another $200 you could have a Bentley? And I'm like, but I don't want a Bentley, dude. I want the Mercedes. I want to make that happen. He's like, good. So when you get that desire, that's when all of a sudden you're like, okay, what do I need to do to get that? And then what do? You go down to the dealership if that's the driving force for you. See, I'm here in New Jersey, so I can't go down to the marina and take a look at it. So what did I do yesterday? I was watching YouTube videos in my downtime of the Sundancer 260 going out on open water. And it seats 4 people. And it has a TV inside. And it has a stereo system. And it has a refrigerator and a little microwave. And 4 people can sit outside comfortably. And then the 40, the Sea Ray 40 Sundancer has room for 8 passengers. And the bottom gate, the play area, has a hydraulic, so it'll go 4 feet into the water. So if you're scuba diving or you're swimming or you got your jet ski tied up to it, you can easily get back on the boat. You just jump on that and hit the button and it brings you right back up. I mean, I'm sitting here going, okay, now I'm getting jazzed about the boat. You understand? If you do, say yes, everybody.
Yeah.
This is the process you have to do. You have to make it real. Visualizing it is awesome. But if you can literally go there and touch it, smell it, lick it, whatever you need to do, do it. When I went through the process of having the custom made home, every weekend I was out looking. Every weekend. It kept me focused. It was the dominating thought of my mind. Pictures, floor plans were on the refrigerator. Floor plans were in the bedroom. Pictures were all over the house. Every Sunday, we would get up early, look at the newspaper, cut out all the ads for model homes, and we would jump in the car by 9 o'clock, go to Dunkin' Donuts, give the kids some donuts to shut them up, and then drive. and we'd go to all these models and take pictures. Pictures, 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 pictures. And then we would lay them out. Okay, this is the kitchen we like. Why models? Because you can see what, when they put a model house together, they have interior designers come in to do the layouts. So we would look at it and go, oh, wow, those are nice curtains. So they go well with this furniture. So we'd take pictures of everything. So we would have an interior designer. So ultimately, what did I decide to do as part of my process? I said to Carol, I said, you know what? I know you could probably put the house together. How about if I give you an opportunity to have an interior designer so you can share your ideas with her or him and design the interior of the house the way you want? She goes, really? I said, yeah. I said, I'll give you a $20,000 budget. Yeah, that worked out well. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just the living room, just the dining room, the living room, and the family room furniture was $25,000. Ultimately, I spent over $50,000 because we didn't take any furniture from the old house. My motto was new house, new everything. And boy, did I pay for that. But, how many times do you do that in your life? It's just money. So go work harder. Go get smarter. You can make it. So the point is that now she's like, oh my God, interior designer. So now we have meetings with the interior designer coming over, and she's showing us, computerized ideas of what she wants because she had fed in the floor plan. And she's like, okay, where are you in the stage of development? Oh, I think you should have, what do they call them? Skylights. So in the family room, I put in 3 skylights. So, the whole process, begins to take form. Now you got other people talking to you about the house. And you're like, it becomes more real. You understand? Is everybody listening, or am I just talking to myself? Give me some feedback, anybody. Because again, we've been having bad connections.
You come and go.
Okay. So, it's really critical. So here's what I'd like everybody to do. I'd like you all to write a date, go into the chat group, into the Bob Proctor chat group, and type in what is your deadline for finishing the exercise in this course, in this part, which is a written description of what? What is it a written description of? Nobody knows? Did anybody read the book? Listen to the audios. Everybody do that?
And then there was nothing.
Well, I think he's now muted himself.
Sorry, can you hear me? I'm going to switch to I'm going to create a hotspot real quick. This is ridiculous. I'm going to finish up the call.
Oh. Are you talking now, Bert?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
now we can.
I'm just going to set up a hotspot. Just give me a second. And that way, the connection should improve because I've got plenty of bandwidth. Okay, so now I'm completely connected by band. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, everything's showing up better. All right, so the exercise is, what I'd like you all to do is review this course. Go back and do a review, begin to write out your statement, and then go into the chat group today. This is the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna, right now, when this call is over, which will happen in a few seconds, go into the chat group and write down when a deadline. Put down, I will complete the written description by, and put a date in there, okay? And if you don't do it, I'm gonna whip you with 10 lashes with a wet noodle type of thing, all right? I'm gonna do it as well. I've got mine almost completed. I know Toby finished it, and maybe 1 or 2 other people did. But the key is that you must focus. Visualization is even more powerful than saying your statement. It really is. So you must understand that this is really a powerful course. So write out your written description. Does anybody know what the written description is supposed to be or how it's supposed to sound?
I'm looking for mine. I'm looking for mine. I wrote it, but it's buried in my book. And I'm selling, so I can't look now.
So did you find it?
And I have people coming intermittently, so no, I can't really find it. I'm trying to, but no.
Okay. I have multiple copies. All right. So, okay. So, in your workbook, the exercise is explained on page page 1, so page 21.
Happy now that?
Huh?
Wasn't it, I am so happy now that?
Yeah. Page 21 is the first process was to think of 6 people that you want, that have qualities that you want. Okay.
Mhm.
That's on page 21. Name 6 people who are doing what you would like to do or who are living as you would like. And then you create your first statement, which is your fantasy statement, which is on page 23, my fantasy. Paint with words the vision you see. Make a detailed written description of your fantasy. Okay? So that's page 23. Page 25 is testing your reality, your fantasy. Okay? So now you've got a fantasy written. Then you turn your fantasy into a theory. Are you willing to? So you're asking yourself, are you willing to do what's in your fantasy? And then you want to turn it into a fact, which is on page 29. And so he explains, how do you take it from theory to fact? Okay, let's quickly review what you've done. You've created in detail a fantasy composite of your new self-image. Next, you affirm that you are capable of living your life in this manner that your fantasy suggests, and you have confirmed your willingness to work at transforming your fantasy into your new self-image. Your objective now is to deeply plant and root the vision of your winner's image in your subconscious mind and keep nourishing it through positive input until your new winner's image wrestles control of your life away from your old self-image. So that's on page 31. So then page 33, which is where we started today, tells you your 5 points. So what I would recommend you do is you take these 5 points and you print it out, okay, and put it somewhere. So listen to these audios as much as possible. I don't like the video. I've watched it various times throughout. It kind of bores me. But, you know, it's a good idea to have this because, again, anything that you put in front of your face is going to get programmed in. And then you write a written description of yourself in the present tense of your winner's image. So it's, you know, rewrite this image weekly. You will find it will keep improving each time you rewrite it. So it starts, I am so happy and grateful now that I am. So this is more of affirmations, I am statements. And then he gives you the exercise, relax every day. I suggest a minimum of at least 20 minutes a day to do this. Then you must completely review. And then he wants you to change these 10 areas. Again, I would print out those 2 pages. And for example, let's talk about this. So Karen, personal appearance. What is a change that you will make in your personal appearance?
Well, I thought about that. I went and got a haircut, actually, but then I didn't like the haircut. Other exercise, toning.
Huh? Tony?
My physical appearance is basically where I want it to be.
Okay. So let's go. Eva, what about you? Personal appearance.
Well, one of the things I really want to do is have red hair.
Ooh.
And so I found a couple people who have it, the color I want. And then there was one lady I just met, I want to say it was not even a month ago. She gave me the name of her hairdresser. So now all I have to do is make an appointment and see what he thinks, you know, based on my current color, what it would take to get me there.
Yeah, one person that I did this exercise with, a woman, she decided that one of the things she was going to make is that she didn't like her nails. So she decided that she would have a manicure every 2 weeks. And she liked what's it called? What's it called when you have like the white tips and then the rest is a different color? A French manicure.
Yes.
She liked the French manicure. She thought it was very elegant, very professional for her line of work, and so she had a French manicure done. That was a change. And guess what? How do you feel? How do you ladies feel when you come out of a manicure? Do you feel better about yourself for some reason? You know, do you feel different?
Yes. You feel like your hands, you're not embarrassed about your hands shaking hands with people or whatever.
When I was in the car business, I would have a manicure done because I'm showing people my hands constantly, my pen. And so, you know, the way it was brought up to me is one guy who was in sales, who bought a car. And after we got done with the presentation, he says, Bert, his wife left and he says, Bert, do you mind if I tell you something? And I go, no, sure. He says, you know, Bert, do you work on cars? And I go, yeah, I was kind of fooling around with my car. He says, you still have grease underneath your nails. And I looked at it and I hadn't noticed it. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So after that, I started getting my nails done. Why? Because I really didn't want to do it. And I kind of liked the process. And I would just have a clear coat put on it, very light clear coat. But basically it was about cutting the cuticles back. It was about cleaning underneath the nail, you know, all that stuff. And so it was also very common in the car business for guys to do that because your appearance is very important. And back then you couldn't go to work without a suit on. You know. Today they put you in some kind of a t-shirt like you're a Best Buy employee because they bought into the McDonald's philosophy. But, you know, anyway, when I go into those dealerships, I just tell them, where's the real salesman, the one that wears a suit? Because to me, you're not a salesperson. You're a Best Buy employee. So anybody else that has looked at personal appearance and what they could do to change it?
I'm going to say I take it back. Mani-pedi for me. Go next.
Okay. For me, a guy last night asked me, did I go and have my goatee trimmed professionally? And so I said, no, I do it myself. And he's like, oh, okay, looks really good. And then I thought about it and I said, I wonder if there's a guy around here who's a barber who could, with a straight razor, really just trim it the way I want, and then I just have to maintain it. So when I read this morning again, I said, that's one of the things I wrote down, to find a local barber, which I did. I found a gentleman who does, he's got actual pictures of what he does. He can do the Tony Stark thing. And I was like, yeah, Tony Stark. But anyway, anybody else? Anybody else, any other area besides personal appearance? Anybody in the area of personal development? Anything that you want to change in the area of personal development? No? All right. So that's it. So I want everybody to write the written description. And then what I'd like to do is if everybody writes it out, we'll do a final call to have every person read their description and do kind of like a follow-up if everybody does it. So write down the deadline. I'm going to finish mine by Friday, which is what, the 29th also? Friday's the 27th. So I'll finish it by Friday and I will record it and all that good stuff. All right. All right, everybody. Unless somebody has some questions or any input or anything else, I'm going to go ahead and end this call. It's 11:30 here Eastern time. And I will see you on Monday if you're in the mastermind group.
Glad to hear you sound like you're feeling better. Sorry.
Yeah, I've been taking I'm almost through a whole box of Emergency.
Good. Good.
No more of that nasty stuff. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for being on the call, and I will talk to you soon.